Okay, so hello guys, it's me Gaming Star here, and today I am back with another episode of the Greatest Attorney to Resolve. I almost said I almost slipped up and said Breath of the Wild, but thank God I stopped myself. But yeah, so last time we had basically started off the first case. And we played as well. That's just basically disguised as well. Video's kid's cousin, but yeah. And it's a tutorial case. But it's really simple. Really short and simple case. Probably the shortest we've ever have. Probably the shortest case in the entire game. Obviously the shortest, because we're gonna get into long ones. Don't you worry, we're gonna get into super long ones soon. So we're gonna get into the more classic Ace Attorney structure with the cases and investigations. Basically like, basically what I mean by that is, well, like, you know, like kind of like the investigation, and then it's gonna be like investigation, trial, and then investigation, and then trial again. Instead of how it was in the first game, where the first game was just investigation, pure investigation, and then pure trials after that. Here it's gonna be like kind of split, like it's gonna be investigation, and then trial, then investigation, and then trial, and then done, right? It's gonna be like that, so keep that in mind. So, let's start, shall we? We haven't done this in a while. Let's begin. You try the mic.
It was a ghastly tale of a winter's night. One of an invisible killer and a crime perpetrated on the pavement along Briar Road. As the victim lay at death's door, the mystery of just who had stabbed the young lady from behind had been resolved. But no sooner had my friend saved that Eastern Exchange student from his harrowing plight, then in the dim, flickering shadows of gaslight did a second bizarre crime rend the stillness of that very night. I dare say most can still recall the sensational headlines of the day. Haunted apartment of death, the condemned criminal's curse, the dread demon of coal gas. Yet, though the great detective had at once discerned the truth upon his arrival at the scene, it only proved to be the overture that announced the rising of the curtain on a most tragic play.
Well, we're back. My name is Ryosuke Naruhodo. I'm a fledgling lawyer, just starting out on my journey. 6 months ago, I arrived as a visiting student in law. We turned out of my lips a little bit, there we go. I have made the long voyage across the sea from the Empire of Japan to here, London, England. And on my way, on an extraordinary circumstance, I made acquaintance with a world-famous detective. Currently, I reside in the attic of the detective's own lodgings, from where I run my legal consultancy of sorts. I've successfully defended a number of clients in Britain's highest court, the Old Bailey. But since a particular grueling and unforgettable legal battle 4 months ago now, I haven't returned to the courtroom. In truth, I lost my right to return. But that epic trial was just one small part of an epic tale, a tale which was now about to awaken from slumber, thanks to the letter that arrived this morning from my homeland. There's a smell wafting up the stairs. It must be nearly time for breakfast, so better go to Mr. Schultz's suite and say good morning to good detective and his playmate. August, 7:28 a.m. Ah, Bruno, good. I was just about to call to you. The bacon's ready. Good morning, 80s. It smells delicious as usual. Before we eat, though, I have some news. I had a surprise this morning. Shh! Not another word, Mr. Naruhodo. This could be just the upstairs thing, my pre-breakfast stagnation repelling mental simulation, my dear fellow. Morning to you too, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, yes. I see! So that's it! Okay, geez. The truth is clear as to me as day. My faculty's observations revealed it again. Oh, what are you talking about? You, Mr. Naruhodo, you have this very morning met with a surprise! Well, is that not the case? Actually? Really, my dear fellow, it barely warrants explanation. Firstly, your hair is particularly unkempt, somewhat reminiscing of a bird's nest. Secondly, you have neglected to fasten the third button in your jacket. Clearly, when considered together, those two facts point to be flustered this morning. Can I talk now? But of course, though I don't look for admiration, you understand. My hair always looks like this. It's been this way since I first met you. Oh, It has? Yes! And the button was ripped off last night, if you remember, by you. Hurley pulled your button off? Ah, yes, I recall the incident now. It was after supper, was it not? In the evening advance, I picked up my violin and began to play the wailing notes of a haunted tune. But then, my utter dismay, the third string snapped, and why did it have to happen? Why? Little wonder then, my vexation, I grabbed the first button I saw, ripped it off the proper place! Well, I like to get back now. Please, I'm in trouble. I can't fasten my jacket. And it's troubling me that you expect me to know where it is, somewhere else in the floor, one presumes helpful. What matters at the present time, my dear fellow, is simply whether or not my deduction is unerring. But Hurley, Reno said it when it came in, didn't he? I had a surprise this morning. Well, it really is a surprise. Yes, this man is the pride of the British Empire, the famous consulting detective, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. There's gonna be a single person in the world who doesn't know his name. Alright then, enough of this silly conversation. Come to eat his bacon before he gets cold. And I have a new herbal tea for you to try too. My latest special blend. And here we have Edith Wilson, Mr. Sholmes' larger companion, a truly exceptional young girl who's offered a highly successful serialization here in London. Yes, The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes is published in Randus magazine. So, Mr. Nadahodo, won't you put us out of misery or surprise? Oh, well, I received a letter from Japan. Oh, from Susie, you mean? Was it really? That's right. She has some rather startling news, in fact. Intriguing indeed. You must tell us all about it over breakfast. Oh yes, what fun! Check out the board. What do we got here? Ah yes, this weird notes. Where's the milk pot today? The blue carbuncle? Yes, we have a case that Hurley solved ages ago. That is a precious stone. A carbuncle is another name for garnet, you see, especially if it's cut around the top. Oh, really? Well, this garnet was blue, wasn't it? Well, that's the one thing. They're usually red. No blue garnets have been discovered. Oh. So who knows if stolen gemstone actually was. That's the real mystery of the case. A proper Sherlock Holmes conjurer, huh? The red violin. Ah, yes, Mr. Jones' faithful musical companion was validated by somebody famous. Yes, it's Stradivarius. Oh, yeah! Though I'm afraid you have to live 100 years before you can afford Mr. But didn't you buy from us for a song, Mr. Sholmes? I found that the pawnbroker among the 40 articles clearly says Stradivarius on the label. What? The ignorant broker had no idea the true value. You see, is maybe 55 shillings for it. Yes, I have some in return for shopping. Mr. Sherlock Holmes, bargain hunter. But is it really a Stradivarius then? But of course, my dear fellow, it says on the label. Just because it's on the, I think perhaps the ignorant broker had something of a turn for selling. Bro. Alright, let's talk. Mrs. Sito's letter, see what it said. This is the letter that arrived from Japan this morning by international post. Oh, how lovely. Look at Susie's beautiful writing. I wish I could read it. And how's your judicial assistant faring, may I ask? She's very well, thank you. In fact, according to what she's written, she's actually appeared as a lawyer in the Japanese Supreme Court in one case. Ah, really? Oh, is she wonderful? A cut above your good self, my dear fellow. I have one case too, you know. Apparently, Mr. Natsume appeared at the trial as a witness. Natsume. No, I don't recall the name. Of course you do! We helped the man! Twice! You know, in those two cases that took place in Briar Road 6 months ago. Ah! The mustache twitchy man with the somewhat feline eyes and the mustache. He didn't have two mustaches, really. Yes, who could forget those two cases that made a very deep impression on me. Although I must confess the details are a little hazy now. A very deep impression that made on you. Clearly. Startling news. So, what was the startling news penned up by Miss Susato? Do you remember the case of the haunted lodgings, Mr. Sholmes? Ah, yes, it's very interesting, you know. I don't feel entirely certain the case of nature did occur. He's totally forgotten then. Anyway, in her letter, Mr. Susato asked if we read over her case notes to investigate further. Though it took place half a year ago. For what purpose? Because of something Mr. Natsume said to her, apparently. He suggested that the real reason why she would call back to Japan so suddenly might have something to do with the case of the haunted lodgings. Oh. Oh, Mr. Natsume's return to Japan, Mrs. Little's father questioned him about the case, she says. And something Mr. Natsume said appeared to trouble Professor Mikatoba, prompted him to send the telegram. Oh, that case! Yes! It was very strange, wasn't it? Yes. And I had compiled the whole story into a nice, neat manuscript ready for publication too. But then Hurley were all funny about it, remember? He was very mean. Huh. The story must not be published, you said. Very mysteriously as well. Really? I said that? Are you sure? Yeah, you did, I think. Do you perhaps know something about it as well, Mr. Sholmes? About why Mrs. Ethel was suddenly told 4 months ago that she had to return to Japan? What do you know, bro? It's been 4 months now since we made Susie off at the Dover. It was such a shock, wasn't it? The way she suddenly announced that she had to go back to Japan. Indeed it was, due to telegram she received from her homeland, I believe. That's right, telling her to return urgently. Yes, because her father had passed away. No! He was suffering from a high fever, not because of which was unknown. He's not dead. But according to this letter, that news about her father's fever was just a ruse. A ruse? So Susie's daddy lied to her till she make the voyage back home. Why would he do that? I have to admit, absolutely no idea. But she believes it's almost certainly related to the case of haunted lodgings. Somebody heard back to Japan so suddenly like that. I wonder where Mrs. Eto's father is hiding. Hurley, do you know what this is about? Oh. Oh, well, you can say. What? But you said... Please, I have engagement with your fellow. The calendar is quite surprisingly full today. And it's strange you can announce as a matter of excessive appeal. Might be quite to leave here. So, metaphor to absence, won't you, Edie's? I will, Hurley. Don't worry. See you later. I haven't done this in a while. He scuttled off rather quickly there. Odd. I think perhaps Professor Mikatoba isn't the only person hiding something here. Soseki-san was involved in 2 cases, but only one had forbidden from being published. Really odd, isn't it? But of all people, Mr. Sholmes. Later. Aha! I found it at last. Edie's? Are they? The notes about the case? That's right. Susie and I compiled them together. The case of the haunted lodgings. Do you want to read them, Runo? Absolutely. Thank you, Edie's. I know you can still be hiding your shadows in this case, but perhaps if I read the notes again, something might come to light. That's the spirit. So, Edith and I decided to read over the case notes again. Everything about what happened, our investigation, and the fierce battle in court that followed, relieving every detail. I just need to find a clue. Because, of course, I'm no longer allowed to practice law in the courts of Great Britain. Oh yeah, I remember now. Oh yeah, the reason why we can't do that is because, well, if you remember in the final case of the first, if you remember, yeah, that's hard to explain. It was 6 months ago, a mysterious incident that involved on the wintry streets of London. A young woman was found lying on the snowy pavement in Briar Road with a knife on her back. Fortunately, her life was spared, but she was unconscious for several days following the incident. The fog was thick and nobody saw her attacker, but by a cruel twist of fate, visiting Japanese student was walking behind her at the time and was duly arrested. That man was Saseki-san, and the man who effected his arrest was Mr. Sholmes. Believing in our compatriot's innocence, Susato-san and I decided to represent Soseki-san in court, and after a grueling trial of many twists and turns, to finally manage to prove his innocence. Joyful, joyous, jubilation! Was the man's reaction after the trial, but his jubilation was short-lived. We received a telegram from Mr. Sholmes the following morning. The victim of the Briar Road stabbing has regained consciousness. Hurry to Bart's at once. So Susato-san and I summoned our hand-son to head it immediately to the hospital. Alright, we're here. 21st of February. It's a little rat. There you are at last. Good morning, Mr. Sholmes. I think not. Oh! You're late! What on earth it took you so long? Your telegram only arrived at 5 o'clock, Mr. Sholmes, and it's a 20-minute ride to the hospital. That's right, it's 5:30 now. I think we made a very good time. The time is utterly irrelevant. The fact is that I've been waiting for this festival like eternity. And point of fact, I myself awoken forward this morning by telegram boy. The feeling it was somewhat unjust had been roused at such an hour, I essentially went to. Well, thanks for that. Anyway, you're here now. So, the victim was over there. She only ranges consciousness. Oh, there she is. You should introduce yourselves. And I shall observe from here. So that's the lady who was found in snow-covered pavement and knife on her back. Her name is... Oh, yes, here we are. Miss Green. Olive green. Alright, let's examine this. We have a little picture here. Look, there's a photograph frame there. Oh, looks like a nice guy. Oh yes, this picture of a young gentleman. He looks like about the same age as Miss Green, I would say. Perhaps the young woman's special someone, do you think? Looks like an artist, so very likely. My, Mr. Naruhodo. I didn't know you had a sense of manners at the heart. Not in the least, I sincerely thought the first thing I thought of. And it looks like she's an artist. It looks like she draws, so it looks like she's an artist, a painter. Rounded wooden figure is most charming, isn't it? I don't think that's the decoration, Naruhodo. It's an artist mannequin, I believe, used when practicing sketching the human form in different poses. I actually have two of them. Really, it's not exactly what you call a typical figure that purpose, though, is it? No, I suppose not. I confess I've never come to see a full-figured before. Well, if you want to draw a full-figured person, it's the right tool for the job. Well, I mean, yeah. To be fair, so... You have a little rat. Hi. Vermin in the hospital doesn't seem the best. But it looks like a very healthy specimen, doesn't it? It's very plump. I'm not sure this would say excellence in the facility, is what you're thinking. Alright, let's talk to her. Hi. Good morning. Huh? Hi. Can we talk for a bit? Hello. I am Mr. Yunosuke Naruhodo. I'm from the Empire of Japan. Oh no! Was it your knife? Are you the man who... No! I'm a lawyer. And I'm Susato Mikatoba. Pleased to meet you. Oh no! Is the knife there? Are you the one? No! I assure you, I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant. We heard that you regained consciousness and wanted to come to give you the best wishes. Best wishes? For me? Thank you. I'm Olive Green. I'm an artist. Well, no, that's not right, is it? I mean, I'm trying to be an artist. Well, what I really mean is, I desperately want to be an artist. But the truth is, I don't have any talent. I know I don't. It's no wonder I was stabbed in the back. I don't think that's related, actually. Gosh, this young woman seems to be bent over backwards to put herself down. Seeing we're here, we should ask about what happened to her perspective, I suppose. About the incident. What do you know? To suddenly be struck in the back by a blade as you were walking along the pavement. What a terrible experience you had, Miss Green. But we know the truth. It was so cold that day and the fog was thick. I couldn't see a thing. Come on, Mario. That was 4 days ago now, I think. Is that right? Yes, that's right. I'm afraid you've been comatose all that time. But the case has been solved, hasn't it? Well, I've been in hospital, I mean. Indeed it has, my dear madam. Particularly by none other than I, Herlock Sholmes. Mr. Sholmes, as you well know, Mr. Naruhodo's hard work at court to solve the case. Are you yet to hear what happened with Screen? Yes, I'm afraid so. A gentleman from the police force is supposed to come and film me shortly. Oh, I see. Me coming around at one time, everyone practically busy. I'm so sorry. I should never ever gain consciousness. It was selfish of me. Oh no, we're also relieved that you're on the mend, Miss Green. We really are. Come here, Mario. I wish with that kind of attitude, maybe her surname should be Blue, not Green. Bro, about yourself. Alright, come on. So, you're an artist, are you, Miss Green? Oh no, I couldn't possibly claim that. I'm a fledgling artist at best. I mean, I'm a student of art, really, at the Thorndike Academy of Fine Arts. Oh my, an Academy of Fine Arts. Great Britain is such a wonderful country. Tell me, Miss Green, do you live here or whereabouts? Oh no, actually, I don't deserve it, but I have a little flat in Brixton Road. I see. That's how very interesting. Oh no, is it? Come here, Mario. Brixton is some 10 stops on underground from here. And the Thorndike Academy is a mere 3-minute walk from Brixton town center. Come here, Mario. Does that matter, Mr. Sholmes? Come here. Perhaps not, but Briar Road is far less sublurious part of the town by comparison. Dwelton does inferior means, including Mr. Maleficent, Mr. Mustache. Inferior means! Supposed to Saki-san doesn't fit the bill. It struck me as somewhat out of the ordinary for a young fine art student to be walking such a district. That's all. Why were you there? What is it? She suddenly clammed up. Mr. Sholmes, you should be ashamed if you're prying into young maiden's private affairs. Oh, dear me, do forgive me. Come here, Mario. If you don't mind, I'm being discharged shortly, so I need to pack up my things. Oh, yes, of course, we won't keep you. Thank you so much, Miss Green. Is there Mr. Narrow Folder here? Mr. Narrow Folder? Narrow Folder now? Well, if you're looking for not a Hodo, the lawyer, that's me, but... Ah! Mr. Narrow Folder! Good. This is for you. It's a message from Mr. Saucy Natsumeg. Mr. Natsume? Sent me a message? To me? But why would a policeman deliver a message from Mr. Natsume? Exactly, what's going on? Oh no. I was a Scotland Yard constable doing pay and delivery boy at the time this morning. Ah, what are you waiting for? Let me see that! Oh. Well, was most expected. Is something wrong, Mr. Sholmes? Is something wrong, Mr. Sholmes? He says. Have you not seen this note? No! How could I have? It would seem that London's criminals have no affection of letting the great detective rest. In a case called, it's a case of murder, no less. We must part ways. Murder? Call a cab. Time for visits. But, trouble is, we've yet to read Mr. Natsume's note. I think we had to pay for the lodgings once we did. That will be entirely convenient. Convenient? What do you mean? Oh, so you got it. It's all here in the notes, my dear fellows. The murder we must investigate took place in Mr. Mustache's lodgings! Wait, what?! Oh, so you got it. Oh, hell. Fireside once. Oh, yeah, we're fucked, boys. Alright. Yeah, we have to get into defense. So, yesterday, Saki-san was in court and we're dispelling the bastard his innocence. No, very next day, there's a murder of a man in his own address? I was the luckiest man alive. I see at the time we were soon to discover it was worse than we thought. That 21st February, 17 a.m. Mr. Natsume's lodgings, ground floor. Oh no, yeah, that's bad. Yeah, that's pretty bad. What on earth? Oh my, the gentleman's deceased without question. He's dead. Look, Mr. Esquire! Mr. Natsume! Oh, why? What is happening? Why to me? I've only just got out of court yesterday. I was finally home after 2 days of misery. And I woke up the next day into this. Now I really bird should catch a warp like this. Willful war without wiggle. I see you're in high spirits again this morning, Mr. Mustache. What the horrible Herlock Sholmes! Sholmes! There's something to the door, never invited you! Mr. Sholmes came here with us. I'm quite sure he'll be able to help you, Mr. Natsume. I'm entirely at your disposal, Mr. Mustache. Okay, I would agree. Oh, hi, Gregson. Here they are, already. The busybodies. Hey, Gregsy. Ah, Inspector Gregson. What a pleasant surprise. Hi, Gregsy boy. Pleasant, is it? Gives me a heartburn every time I see your face in the crime scene, Sholmes. You already have heartburn with all the fish and chips and grease you have there. I just, Inspector. Those heartburns result from your excessive consumption of fried food. That's what I said. I just said that. Good morning, Inspector. To the crime scene. Don't you go touching anything. Or good morning to you too, sunshine. Okay. So, oh sweet. Hey. What a terrible thing to have happened. It's only been 3 days since I was arrested and sitting in the pavement outside. And then having regained my freedom, it starts happening all over again. Endless existence of excruciating experiences! So the victim lived here on the ground floor on your room to store you up, isn't it? Yes, that's right. In a way, we are neighbors, I suppose. So you're the victim? Were you friends? What's the matter with Sosaki-san now? It was just an innocent enough question, wasn't it? Why does he seem so... Well, he wasn't a complete stranger. But he never invited me to his room. Never! On my honor, I swear it! What an extreme reaction. You're probably wishing you never asked now, aren't you, Mr. Naruto? When we found you here, I felt rich. That's why I never said a word to ask you. Through the inspector over there! Oh, Gregson. It's odd. Okay, looks like a... So, Spectre, what's the victim's name? Who was he? Mr. William Shamspear, he was a lodger here. As you can probably tell, he was an actor. Bit of a dead loss if it happens, we're just dead. It's Mr. Shamspear. Because he's a sham! It was the landlord, old Mr. Garrett up in the lodge of Mr. Nutsman who found him. The fellow didn't rise at the usual hour, so Garrett got worried and kicked the door down. Oh, okay. But doesn't Mr. Garrett have a bad leg? Oh, yeah, you're right there. It was a jittery Japanese hunchback over there that actually did the kicking. Huh, really? So Heki-san. The victim was pretty hard up, it seems, even done time inside for petty crimes. He had no money, no place to go, and no friends. The only acquaintance were the people in his house. Miserable life and miserable end to it. So what exactly is Mr. Nutsman still doing here? He's not involved in the investigation, so shouldn't have sent him away from the crime scene? Well, I'm not saying because the fellow looks out or anything, but I'm suspicious. But I thought it would prudent to look suspect. Look, I mean culprit. You nearly said culprit there, didn't you? Oh dear. Mr. Nutsman appears to be under suspicion again. It certainly seems that way. He does come across as such an odd fellow, doesn't he? Poor man. How unfortunate. I'll be socially awkward. Anyway, I can't say much till the coroner gets here. But I don't think the fellow's gone longer. The body's still warm. Even if the inspector would allow it, I don't think I could bring myself to touch a dead body. Oi! Say hands off! You're gonna mess my crime scene! Oh, no, I just wanted to look myself. No chance! I know you're kind. Ugh, someone's in a bad mood. There's certainly some bad areas, isn't it? Alright, sounds like it's better to talk to the inspector first and try to get some favor of him. What the hell are you doing? What are you doing? Okay, come on. Hi. Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing? Huh, you're observing the dear fellow, investigating naturally. There's nothing natural about that pose. Mr. Sholmes, here is a miraculous discovery. Patience, my dear madam, patience with everything fine business. So far, if I'm introduced is what's actually happened. My goodness! But is there anything we need to know, Mr. Sholmes? I propose, I believe we will do say that way. Present time, I've managed to draw two comfortable conclusions. The first is that there's a physical struggle here last night and the victim fought for his life. Ah! Ah! What? Mr. Natsume, what's wrong? Is I think Mr. Jones is something somehow? No, don't mind me. Forgot I was here! Huh. And my second conclusion is that the poison lingering in the air here is passing. Nonsense! Ah! Alright, Mr. Natsume, why are you reacting so extremely to Mr. Stone's deductions? No, please, pretend I'm not here! Invisible significant! Impossible to ignore. You must observe Mr. Sholmes, spare no detail. But of course, let the theoretical tragedy before it's unraveled, the great deductions presented by your pleasure in 2 acts. You've heard some truly sounding great deductions, Mr. Sholmes, in the past. No doubt of exceptional miracles will unfold before our eyes this time. So, my dear fellows, your died of wonder, let the current rise. For Herlock Sholmes, logical and reasoning spectacular, Act 1. Alright, let's go. Cause of death. Careful observation of the victim reveals to us that events that transpired in his comfortable room last night. Foam in the mouth of the deceased clearly indicates the use of poison. I think it's a teacup. Next to the victim, we notice a large dining plate which contains, well, if you observe, 1 half-sizable bar of soap. Meaningful? Indubitably. Who eats soap? Tell me, who in the fuck eats soap? Why is the soap set so purposely upon the dish? A victim's last supper, in fact? Yes. I don't believe that. Could it be that the man was about to eat? Of course, the fork reveals the answer. That's odd. It appears the young man's appetite was undoing. Who the fuck eats a piece of soap? Taking up the arms in the form of his culture, the victim engaged in deadly battle for his life. Yet the struggle against his hunger with the vein in the end could restrain devouring his slippery feet. But London's foul soap is basically foul poison. Nobody eats soap, it's kind of disgusting. Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison that contained the contents of the plate. I don't think that. The soap and the elaborate young man's mouth are perfectly matched to ignore. No, I don't believe that. The cause of death was clearly intoxication due to excessive intake of foul soap. Though the personally I have a greater interest in takes this foul candle wax, of course. What? It's like, oh. Nah, I don't like soap, I prefer candle wax. I'm gonna lose my suicide or murder. Oh, the bad word of YouTube. Cause of death identified, we proceed to Act 2, where we ponder the next question. Was it suicide or murder? Oh, the audience will recall the death occurred during the victim's last supper. Did the man dine and die alone, or did a single teacup suggest the answer? But wait, dancing on the floor? That conclusion wasn't mere evidence of foolish, however, certainly. A careful criminal could cover his tracks. Well, allow me to light the violet up, my dear fellow. Indeed, the real answer is a broken lock. No, I don't see that. I'm sorry. Though it was a forced open now, the time of the incident door was locked. And the sole key was the victim's pocket. Under the words, when the victim consumed the poison, he must have been alone. Alone with inferior soap, and wet hands wafted inferior scent. And with that arson aroma lingering in the air, the victim met his end in a tragic solitude. We can take comfort in the fact that his soul was cleansed in the way that hereafter. No possible perpetrator present. The conclusive act of Sherlock Holmes' great deduction. No, I'm sorry, but no. There's just one thing, Mr. Sholmes. You were disposed of identifying just one thing, aren't you, Mr. Nuthuddle? Pray, what concerns you? Well, no matter how hungry he was, do you really think the man would have eaten soap? Yeah, that's what I said. I said that. It's quite apparent that the man has a bit of penny in his name. It's a curious thing, but the one to suit soap can suddenly appear quite irresistible, appetizing. Whew, how extraordinary. Well, I mean, people do get desperate, but, like, soap is, in truth, I've tried a little bit of soap or something in the past. Excuse me, what? You mean? My dear fellow, it is some time ago now. My pulsation wasn't to cleanse my gut. And did it? It was right in agony on the floor and split the contents of my stomach. Yes, I believe it did. The experience taught me a valuable lesson. Soap is quite poisonous. Don't eat soap! It was an unpleasant taste and led to great discomfort. In summary, I cannot recommend it. Obviously! Believe me, I wouldn't eat it even if it did. Something that troubles me as well, actually. Oh, what's that? Oh, my god. Especially Natsume. Ah! I couldn't help noticing a shudder and quivering out of the corner of my eye, almost as Mr. Sholmes' deductions touch a nerve somehow. Nonsense. Well, that clenched teeth episode didn't last. Huh. I think it depends on his reactions. The great detective's deductions may have some gentle corrections in order to reach the actual truth. Yes, Mr. Sholmes' observation deductions are sometimes a little too sharp. He has a tendency to hit the nail on the side of the head and drive it out to tooth angle. When he does that, it falls us to straighten things out. Alright then, let's see what we can do. Yes, we must pick out the keywords, Mr. Sholmes. Real deductions. And this is exchange is something that makes a little more sense. If we can do that, I'm sure we'll arrive at Mr. Sholmes meant to say in the first place. In that case, are you ready for the second performance of the day? Once again, my dear fellows, as you continue to light to the wonder, let the current rise. For Sherlock Holmes, Logic of Reason Spectacular Act 1. Course correction, let's go. Alright, here we go. Course correction. Howl it, Mr. Sholmes. Okay, here we go. Cause of death, poisoning from soap in the station, which I don't believe for a goddamn second. It's fucking soap. Who eats soap? Anyone sees soap, please comment in the comments. Careful observation, the victim reveals the events transpired the same room last night. So we have foam in the mouth, which could mean something else. Next to the victim, yeah, we have dining plate. On half the size of water, soap meaningful in both of these last supper, in fact, yes. It could be the last about to eat. Of course, the fork reveals the answer. I don't believe the fork reveals that answer. Well, something fork applies. Yes, that's true. However, to use some soap, I prefer to use a fork to tempt it with chopsticks. Of course, I only have bar soap and something like. But there might be some explanation. Something material that proves otherwise man really needs soap. So let's see, we have. Oh, there's the other half. There's the other piece. Look, there's the soap and flare. If it's chance to reveal all that stuff, let's not jump to conclusions. Close the soap. You see, it's a perfectly filled other half. What the? How can that be? I think that they two had the same bars broke apart. Then we have the hat. Then we have the bar soap. We have a stain. The teacup. I think the teacup reveals the answer. Do you really be drinking the soap? Cup's empty, so no way of knowing. Ah, how about the idea? Try to pool of water. Is dissolved soap is going to gulp as much down as possible. Please remember that he may actually have been the soap lover. I bit it may not to be. So I think it's a teacup.
Take that!
I say a teacup. Fuck. I was wrong. Teacup's for later, actually. Yeah, teacup's for later. I don't remember. Yeah, I got way ahead of myself there. Alright, so I'm a bit curious. Alright, so let's see. So we know that the fork is not going to be really the answer, that's for sure. So teacup will be for later. The teacup is important, but that will be for later. What the hell? Let me see. So we have a stain, we have his hat. Shoe, fork. Let's see about the fork here. Suppose the soap, I don't think it's question even full stop. But then why is man fork his hand? Oh dear. That's the frustration. Take it out of it. The point is, if you decide to use soap, it was actually really out of some other clues. So I think it's the other bar of soap. Now that I think about it, yes, the other piece of the soap. He has the fork to kind of get rid of something, you know, like kind of pull something out of the soap, which is very likely. So there we go. We're gonna go with this other bar of soap. Could it be that the man was about to eat? Of course. Another piece of soap reveals the answer. It being the other half of the soap at the table, Short's victim was not eating soap at all. But it's obvious, really, for the depths of hunger can drive any man to attempt to eat soap. No! Who the fuck eats it? Even I, will quenchable thirst for a particular knowledge, only take a single bite. But that begs the question how man is poisoned because there's no sign of any food on the table. Drinks. Explanation was not held on. When it finishes, the answer is seek. For London style soap is beverage by poison. Yes, the victim's life was claimed, but a poison tainted the contents of the plate. Mr. Sholmes is still pushing the soap argument then. Perhaps he still is linked with the band's animated the soap in London as poison. I don't think I want to be washing my hands of it. Both are in science food in the room table. Of course, there's only a thing with people's lips, isn't it? So let's see, we have the fork, teacup. So the only thing left is the contents of the plate. The contents of the plate is just soap again, isn't it? Well, you know, Japanese food is poison, you might as well eat it in the plate after all. Well, there is an image. All I can picture now is the victim taking a bite of soap in the plate. The soap tips so in the plate like a giant rice cracker. Oh dear, that sounds very bad combination. It's a teacup. It's a teacup. Yep, there you go. That's what I was thinking about. There you go. It was the teacup. There we go. Told you. Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison in the teacup. Indeed, cups have been vessels of points protecting poisoners over the centuries. Yeah, I mean, there's a literal teapot called the assassin's teapot because like assassins kind of do that to put like two different types. I think that does exist. It's an actual kind of cup. It's kind of interesting. You know, teapot that exists. It appeared the victim drank every last drop. There's no sign of food anywhere in the room, which leads to the inevitable conclusion. The cause of death was clearly intoxication induced poison contained in the teacup. Cause of death. Poison in the teacup. In the tea. Yeah, that's more obvious. I mean, that does make more sense than fucking soap. Suicide or murder. I think it's more. The cause of death identified Act 2, so let's get to it. Was the suicide or murder? Oh, yeah, he's acting off. The audience will recall the occurring in the Last Supper. The man died alone. The single teacup suggests the answer. So we already talked about the teacup, that's for sure. The Western vessel for influence hot drinks again is already featured heavily in our discussion so far. Yes, you can imagine that shortly before his death, Mr. Chance was having a drink of tea. There would be nothing remarkable about that, but what troubles me is that's Mr. Reaction heard Mr. Schultz suggest there's one for introduction it seems, so must closely examine the crime scene again. So let's see what we got. So we got the stain, the single teacup, but there's another one! He has foam in the mouth, so there's another one right here. And that one's a crack. So teacup! And it's too empty. Given the actual holding this one in his hand, we can actually see what this girl was actually drinking. What about the other one? But that's the case, then what about the other? So I feel about this. Yes, I know exactly what you feel. So, the other teacup. There's another. There we go. Did the man dine or die alone? The other teacup suggests the answer. Yes, there was 2 teacups in the room all along. In other words, there's strong indication that the victim's Last Supper was of someone else. There was a guest present, Mr. Fairplay. No, no, I'm missing. Mr. Fairplay's like the complete. Just. At the very least, I can now certainty. There's somebody else in his room last night taking a tea with the victim. What are you talking about? Utterly, unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable. To draw conclusions, such marriage evidence of foolish adversity. In which case, what about this possible guest at the table? Well, allow me to lift the veil of doubt, my dear fellow. Do you mean to say you know exactly what's in the room at the time of the victim? Indeed, it reveals the answer to the broken lock. I say the books, because there's books on the table. I'm not sure as the doctor is going now. I'm afraid he's going back to clinic with too much soap. But the identity of the guest who here last night and passed away is something I'm very bad feeling about. Well, you've ignored the feelings, you cannot not supposed to not look around again. So, we have an empty bottle, and then we have some pile of books. And then we have glasses here, but let's see the empty bottle real quick. It's empty. Empty liquid full of air. That makes you think, doesn't it? It makes me think you're full of hot air. Bod, since it sounds quick, supposed to clever my original riddle. So, pile of books. Fuck. I didn't check it clearly. I was just assuming. So I thought, yeah. Oh, fuck me. They haven't checked it because I was like too ahead of myself. I was like, oh, pile of books, we're done. I was too ahead of myself. I'm such an idiot sometimes, you know. I'm such a moron, bro. I'm a special moron. All right, let's go ahead and check the books. First glance, this makes you overlook books' intensity. I wonder what they are. Let's see inside these. Picture de Moscow Lekoi, Canterbury Yearnings, and a meal for a gabu. Oh yeah, I know where these books are. Wait, I'm sure I heard these. Could be a coincidence, but there's the same three books. I purchased the other day. What? Yes, the other day, a fortunate incident in the screen of staff. So like he's went to the bookshop and brought this right. Titles here in the room. Victim. As we clearly seen these before. What does this mean? You think? I really don't make it. A pile of familiar books. Pile of familiar books. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. There you go. Yeah, I forgot to check it. But I knew the books were important. There we go. I just forgot to check it. Indeed, reveals the answer. Of course, it's about familiar books. Quite so. So, of course, there's 3 titles here. The link to the truth. Oh, boy. Ah, sorry, Mr. Natsume. Ah! Mr. Natsume, you purchased these books 4 days ago, second-hand bookshop. Ah, this is a coincidence. If that's the case, you will be able to bring the 2,000 in your own room while you're not. The very moment. No, never, not literal. You can bring your own copies here. That proves the 3 books are in fact yours. Having purchased the books 4 days ago and returned to your lodge, you were arrested the very next day. Damn, poor bad luck though. So you can convince me I brought books here in the evening and mentioned that. In other words, you brought these 3 books in the victim's room. Oh, he's doing the multiple poses. That is so good. I love that. God damn. Last night, having returned to your lodgings after the trial concluded, Old Bailey. In short, there is an impossible conclusion. The victim died in a room last night as a result of poisoning. And that same night, the victim had a visitor. And that visitor... Yeah, boys, we got it. It was you, Mr. Soseki Natsume. The thus concludes the final act of Herlock Sholmes' great deduction. We did it. There we go. So that's our first one for this Let's Play. Not again, not again, not again! Not again! Well then, Mr. Natsume. It would appear that you've got to accompany me down to the yard. Again. But wait! Hold your horses! Yes. Door! Key! Locked! Entry! Exit! Entirely impossible! He's so flustered, he's being even stranger than normal. Who do you think is an alibi? You can just make a copy. What? You live in the same building after all. You have plenty of opportunity, I'm sure. Misery me! Sorry, sir. You'll get a chance to give your side of the story later. The facts speak for themselves, Mr. Mustache. You horrible Herlock Sholmes! He really has found himself in our travel now, hasn't he? Come on now, no dilly-dallying. Outside, there's a carriage waiting. Welcome to Mr. Dono Esquire! I'm so sorry. I never imagined I'd be in a position again, but... You have to help me, please! Please! I'm innocent! Alright, I understand. We'll come to your cell later and talk about it. And one more thing. Oh, yes? My poor little kitty cat. Please give him his breakfast for me! Okay, I will. And so, his evil curse is still apparently unbroken, so Seki-san found himself once again finds suspect of the case of murder. Oh my god. Thanks to an incriminating deduction, the great detective. My dear fellow, the honor belongs to you. I feel like shit for that. Well, at least that means Inspector Greg's no longer here. We can examine the crime scene for detail now. What? Have you ever gotten the Inspector mentioned before? It was the landlord, Mr. Garrett, who discovered Mr. Shamspear. Ah, Mr. John Garrett, yes. I saw to find him sitting on top of the floor as usual. Right, I must remember I'll talk to him later then. But we're gonna go ahead and investigate. Let's investigate a bit. Alright, so I see something here on the floor. So I noticed this little piece right here. That's going to be important. What's this? It looks like a part of an envelope, I think. Yes, I think it might be right. Perhaps it was torn up when the letter was open. Is that significant? Well, it was a lot of place perhaps when you look around the room. There's no sign of a letter. The rest of it was back here. Ah, she's right. And yeah, there's torn up in the envelope. It just strikes me as unusual. I agree. We better take a look just in case. Torn up envelope. So that's gonna be important for later. Let's take that. And then we have this on the floor too. And then this. Teacups. Ah, one of the teacups was good last night. But don't go drinking it, Mr. Nutt, had a bit of poison inside. I'm not planning on drinking any. Don't worry, the cups are both empty. That's true, so Mr. Shamspear's and the others cup of Shamspear was drinking from. Well, in that case, I wasn't poisoned, of course. Perhaps we could take it and examine them in more detail later, so we're gonna check them out later. And one of them has a crack, which is interesting. And we have Mr. Shamspear himself. Oh, the poor man. So young to die. He was a very painful death, being poisoned as he was. I don't know, we can do it to help you have a reborn better life. Yes, I suppose you're right. I wonder. Do you think as our hands together in a Japanese prayer will help the British soul? Sorry. Made sure I had the reference ready just occasionally, actually. This book is entitled The Beginner's Guide to Praying the Departed the British Way. I'll just reread it now in one moment. There's quite a spine on the book, isn't there? So then, we have this. This could be important. Look at this. As we have another disproportionately large machine. Looks like a meter of some kind. It's going to be important for later. Keep this in mind. Ah, it's a gas meter, I think. It seems that in this district, residents pay for gas as they use it for coins. Yeah, kind of like electricity. And I see, as now you pointed it out. I can see his slot just looks like a kind of take a coin. So you mean if you put a coin in there? That's right. They will buy a coin in hours faster. So, if you're a poor person of money, you have sleep in freezing cold. Yes, or it's a scatterbrain with no change because you forgot to exchange your money at the bank. Thank goodness there's no in an office. So, go here. The window. Why? Here to see why. As you've seen, the outside of it is completely bricked up. Because of the window tax. This is the former window tax that Brintons had to pay. What strange thing these tax in Great Britain. Yeah, it's really weird. I mean, making people pay for a number of windows they had property is extraordinary. I agree. It's really odd. It's heartbreaking to think the poor are having to block up their windows to avoid an affordable tax. Everything is taxed. Like the teat tax. Oh, what is this though? If you look closely, there's a number of bricks are loose. Oh! Oh yes, looks like the amateur has broken out a few of them just here. Was it Miss Shamspear who did this? Being larger and renting his room. Ah, look at Mr. Nutt, hold on. On the outside there's a little ledge, and there's something on it. What? Outside? And the bars of soap too, which is really odd. It's cold outside, you can feel it through the gap. It did snow last night, could be cold. But more importantly, there's a ledge out there. Those snow-covered lumps. It's more bars of soap. Soap? What? It's lined up at the edge outside. I have no idea. But the pair of them look rather charming like that. But still, it's very strange, isn't it? Bars lined up outside the window. I think perhaps we should take one or two after all. Oh dear, I suppose we could. Oh, what's this? It looks like soap. Ah! Well, you see, it's in the middle here. It's a coin. There's a patch of different color. It's sort of transparent, but sort of a fancy design. Oh, supposedly in Great Britain. Looks like a Himanoor flag of Japan, doesn't it? How wonderful. It's probably a very expensive brand. Expensive than doing a ransack a little room. Looks like you're having a good snooping around, eh? Oh! Inspector Gregson! Back so soon? After I threw a little Japanese fell in the clink, I went to report investigation decision. If I had been inside, the place would be cordoned off in the yard. Oh, I see. Well, we better be leaving then. Poor Mr. Natsume had been feeling very low, being back in his cell again so soon. I'm sure he'd probably go. What's wrong, man? Oh. Oh, sweet God. Oh, sweet God. Out, a brief candle. Life's but a walking shadow, a poor player. Oh, sweet. The stress frets as hour upon the stage, then heard no more. Oh no. Now, how soundeth the next part? It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Indeed! Oh, happy day! The way he falls! What? 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 Walking Dead! Bro! Phil isn't dead at all! No! No! Was that not what he was saying, though? Big Shakespeare shit? I think, yes, it was from William Shakespeare, Macbeth. A soliloquy in Act 5, Scene 5. Shakespeare. Oh my god. Oh god, okay. Oh! So it was the victim, Mr. William Shamspear, came back to life. Deep in poison, and killed him. He was taken by emergency carriage to a nearby hospital for treatment. Oh. And Inspector Gregson picked us from the scene of the crime. Whatever what that was. Now it was. Oh, fuck off, dude. Oh, fuck off with that. Wait, hold on. Who's this guy? Oh, yeah, we remember we saw... Yeah, I think I remember this. Briar Road. Remember that guy? Remember when I told you in the first Let's Play? In one of the cases, how you know it's going to be super important? Yeah. Whatever you think happened now. Good question. What a strange situation. Mr. Death may arrested in the murder and the victim comes back to life. I think perhaps the victim was never dead in the first place. It seems very likely Mr. Shamspear consumed the poison and we deduced. But it was an accident, attempted suicide, or attempted murder? I think it was attempted murder. Until the truth can be established, imagine the police keep this in custody. I suppose so. Let's hope it is a good way for one of the night cells. Oh, what's this? What's this man doing over there? He looks like he's trying to be Soseki-san lodgings. Is something wrong? Excuse me, can we have a word? Oh! Ah! Hi. You just ran off. I'm sure I've seen that metaphor before. Where was it? Oh, yeah, remember. I do too. I don't remember. Actually, I do remember where. If you remember the first game, you guys remember that case where the first game with Soseki-san, with, trying to defend Soseki? Yeah. He actually appeared, both Shamspear and him actually appeared for a little bit, having apparently like an argument or something. Let's go to Springs Hospital. Let's go over back to, because we need to do the, like how is nothing here yet? Let's examine the shovel. Perhaps I could put a spade away somewhere. That's no spade, no, it's a shovel. No, shovels are for digging. That's for scooping loose material. It's a spade. No, spades are for digging. The scooping loose material is a shovel. Well, it doesn't really matter, does it? You're right, not 100%. Just kind of waste the triples. Or reflection that I think of the spade is. Yes, it's for the best. We made a shovel work in the garden. Let's go to Gyarados. Oh god! Here we are again, the eccentric landlord, eccentric top floor. We're here, Mr. Gyarados, the one who discovered the incident this morning, don't forget. Hi! It's been a while. Ah, you chaps, eh? Yes, good morning, sir. Thank you for your cooperation, according to today. It was quite a trial. That's much for Mr. Gyarados anyway, really. Came straight back here after all the business at the Bailey yesterday. Didn't expect to wake up more bally nonsense this morning. I wonder if you don't mind telling exactly what happened, Mr. Gyarados. I suppose you'd like to know all about that dead, lost vernacular chap in the ground floor room. Those were exact Inspector Grex's words, weren't they? Alright. Let's converse. The morning incident. It must have been a real shock for you this morning to hear and discover what happened. Ah, well, that hopeless actor chap rises at 5 o'clock sharp every morning without fail. But at 5:30 in the morning, he still had to lit the gas. Oh, so I went down and knocked on the door, but no bally answer. And that's when he broke into his room by kicking down the door. Well, I called a rum-looking Japanese chap to do the grunt work, of course. Wasn't a little premature to kick the door down. The man could have just overslept half an hour. That's very true, Mr. Nadahodo. If 30 minutes oversleeping warrants such behavior, I have to kick your door down every morning! Well, you know, better be safe to sorry, no? Is it just me, or is he avoiding our gaze now all of a sudden? Something wrong. This is all the star situation indeed. You found the far side of the door. Mr. Shamspear. The victim's name is Mr. Shamspear because he's a sham. I believe, is that right? Ah, the pun is beautiful. Yes, William Shamspear took the ground floor 3 months ago now. 3 months ago? And we describe him. And a word. Destitute. Destitute? Well, let's face it. The only redeeming feature of that room is the cheap rent. Anyone waiting to live in a place like that, you're broke or have a body screwed loose. So hard to choose which category to select yourself will fall into. Maybe a bit of both. Mr. Nadahodo, that's a little rude. He was doing research as well. Research? Into what? Shakespeare, of course. Shakespeare. I read a few plays at Old Barn myself, you know. Romeo and Hamlet and all that. Romeo and Juliet and Hamlet. Ah, yes, William Shakespeare is England's most highly regarded classical playwright and author. Also, fun fact is that during the same time in Spain, they actually had their own kind of like, you know, there's like Miguel Cervantes, who basically was the author of basically one of the most well-known novels in the world, called Don Quixote de la Mancha, which I do have the book, and it's like, do you know how thick that book is? It's two parts, and it's like 2 big-ass books. It's like thousands of pages. It's a big-ass book. I could show you a picture of that big-ass book. Like, literally, it's like, look it up for yourself. Look up, you know, it's separated into 2 books. You know, like, Don Quixote de la Mancha, Don Quixote de la Mancha. It's basically kind of like in a sense, how can I explain this? Shakespeare and Cervantes were both basically at the same time. So, like, it's pretty funny, though, when you think about it. Because, like, that's what I thought of, so it's actually pretty funny how they're both like that. Really, though. Yeah, I did read a bit of Don Quixote, and honestly, it's so big, like, it's so long, like, and also it's Old Spanish, too, so, like, yeah, it's kind of, you know how Shakespeare has, like, old English? The same thing with Don Quixote, it's, like, super long. You know how, like, in schools, if you know this, if you're in American school, you know, like, whatever and shit, you know how, like, you have to read Romeo and Juliet at some point? In like, Spanish school, it's the same thing, but instead of Shakespeare, you read Don Quixote. That's a thing. And you know how big that shit is? Let me explain. The book is thick as hell. If I thought the Bible was big, bro, let me tell you, that thing is bigger. It's thicker if I want to get right with you. He's known for Sao in Japanese. You know, many of his work have been translated. It seems incredible that Shakespeare shortened to Sao, though. Someone was too heavy-handed there. There were a lot of costumes in the victim's room, actually, weren't there? Of course, Mr. Answer is a scholar of English literature as well. I imagine Mr. Shamspear would have had much in common. Shakespeare interpretation disagreement leads to shocking murder. Let's hope not that. Mr. Nadahodo, really? How rude. Yesterday's events. Alright, here we go. After Mr. Nada's trial yesterday, you came straight back here, I believe, didn't you? Did you notice anything strange between him and this morning? Tell me. Well, now, must have been about 6 in the evening time I got home. Snow was coming down rather heavily, remember? And it was a complete dark right already. That failed actor chap was out at the time. Mr. Garrett noticed there was no light in the room. Something happened, I suppose. Couldn't summon the energy, anything much, and stand in front of the fire. I was afraid that Shamspear got back. And the chap was up till past 1 in the morning, you know. Wow, you suppose he even met his end after that time of sleeping and rather dark there. Well, thank you, says you're illuminating. I stay up sometimes, like up to 3 or 2 a.m. Is everything alright? Because usually for drawing. I stay up pretty late for drawing sometimes, Mrs. Seto. Well, I was just thinking it's a little strange, that's all. Mr. Garrett, you were up here in your room all evening, if I understood correctly. Not a big fan of stairs, not with this blasted leg. Then, how else do you seem to know the precise moments of your attendant in the ground floor? I mean, that's a very good point. I can't imagine that you could hear noises from the ground floor all the way up here. Does this old man like to spite his tenants, that is? I say, I know you're thinking this is bally outrage. I'm ex-military, don't you know? I'm gonna go around spying on my tenants, why would I? Then how do you know, Mr. Garrett? It's the gas, woman! The gas tells me everything! The gas? Speaking gas. What on earth do you mean, sir? How can the gas tell you anything, let alone everything? Well, as you're probably aware, the gas is applied to the building by pipes. Yes, I'd more or less worked that out. Every room in the building is connected to a single pipe in the gas main outside, and the gas company supplies the gas properties via the main. I can't read! Yes, I understand. I'm Bowden, I'm 21 and I can't read. Let me see if I can explain. Let's say if I had the gas lamps up here, I suppose what happened? Well, obviously the room would get brighter. Exactly. But at the same time, the lights on the other rooms in the house would dim for a moment. What? They dim? Why? Perhaps it's because when you light gas up, it briefly uses more gas than usual. And that reduces the amount of gas in the pipe for other lamps connected to it. We use electricity now. This was back when electricity was not as common. That might explain why other lamps dim momentarily when it. Yes, of course, because everything is not supposed to happen, though it sounds rather undesirable. Jolly good point. Fact is, the gas company pipes in these parts are pretty hopeless, long worn out, and barely got any gas out of them to start with. Opposite's also true, of course. Extinguishing the lamps up here and a little brighter in the rest of the house. Ah, right, I see. So by watching the flickering of the lamps in one room, you can determine what's happening elsewhere. You got it. That makes sense. Of course, because the people who come back home in the evening before they go to sleep at night, what they're guaranteed to do is either light or put out their lamps at fires. Clever. In point, in fact, the room on the ground floor is the one that has slightly different amounts of gas. By watching the lights in here closely, you can work out exactly what's going on in the whole house. Gosh. That's fascinating, Mr. Garrett. Absolutely fascinating. Oh well, nothing to do really. I can't really see it as going to help us in the case either. What I'd like to know is why Mr. Garrett was interested in what his tenants were up to in the first place. I feel like there's more to his idle curiosity. Well, we've done as much investigating as we can, I think. Perhaps we ought to go to the prison and speak with Mr. Natsume again. A good idea. I have like a little squeak on my door for some reason. Alright, let's go over to the prison, shall we? How about we go back to Miss Green's hospital? Because sometimes there's an event that does happen in rare occasions. There is an event that actually does happen. I think it's like the investigation part 2, actually, I remember. But it's investigation part 2, where you have to return to the hospital after a point. And then after he gets out of the hospital, and he goes there and just, yeah, it's really weird. I'll just tell you. 20 for a second, look at prison cell 9. Look, Mr. Nadahodo. Mr. Natsume, have the police finished questioning you? Welcome to Mr. Nadahodo Esquire! Oh, yes? What is he? Tell me! Is he a ghost? Is he here to haunt me? Let me guess. You're talking about Mr. Schultz. He actually goes to text Mr. Natsume, not a ghost. But the abductions, they're not this world. They left me. Curse! I'm cursed, I tell you! Well, this hurts. Credit where credit is due, Mr. Nadahodo. You were heavily involved in the abduction, too. Yeah, moving on. We have some wonderful news! Oh? The victim that is dead has come back to life again. Now, the absolute worst case, you could have only tried for attempted murder! That's great! Isn't it? Is there not to me? It's terrible! Oh. I'm stuck! I just suffering! Wrong end of the stick! You did, didn't you? Confess you're a killer! Why the mustache? The constant questions! I'm sorry to hear that. The selfish shyster! Make up your mind. Are you dead or alive? If you were going back to life, why bother dying? Wickedly wishing William! Well, it seems likable that Mr. Shamspear was never actually dead in the first place. Ah, yes, that might make sense. Please he's alive, of course. Our lively debate last night was much fun. It's sad to think it's our last. Oh. Oops. Oops! Mr. Smith, does this mean that you did see the victim last night? You meant Mr. Shamspear. Didn't you? I'm not saying another word. I demand a lawyer present. What do you think I am? Please, Mr. Natsume, we need to hear your side of the story. Why am I cursed like this? Okay, I'm sorry, but we're gonna have to, fuck, wrong bud. Let's talk. Alright, what happened, bro? Can you tell us exactly what happened last night then, Mr. Natsume? There's nothing to tell! But Mr. Nadahodo Esquire, I'm darling grateful to you helping me with the cursed case yesterday. That case I saw Ms. Green Hospital after she up a knife in her back. It's hard to believe that it was only yesterday. After the trial was over, I trudged away back to the lowly lodgings, and that evening, at past 9 it must have been, I visited Mr. Shamspear. So you did go to the victim's room then? Okay, that's true. As you feared. I didn't do anything wrong! I'd never been to his room before. It was his first time. Then, what made you decide to go? I bumped into him when I arrived back in the house. We got chatting and developed into discussion. But You had to go out and bade him farewell. That's how Isaac and Mr. Garrett said. The victim went out and came back after 8. We met again later that evening, around 9 or just after, when I took him a nice tea I brewed as a gift. So it was you who brought the tea that had clearly been drunk at the scene then. And I suppose you were discussing works of Shakespeare, weren't you? Yes, that's right. Exactly right. Romeo and Juliet! Who was the stronger? That was the lively debate. Who was stronger? I'm sure. Such a stimulating subject, Shakespeare! And the debate became very heated. So you slipped poison into Mr. Shamspear's tea? No, never, not at all. Team Juliet won. That was me. And when I left his room. Who's the? Okay, guys, tell me. Okay, guys, please in the comments. Tell me who's better, Romeo or Juliet? In the comments, please tell me who's stronger, Romeo or Juliet? I like to know the debate. I like to know the debate. Honestly, I don't care who, but please tell me. I'd like to know. The flamboyant fellow was fighting fit. I swear it. Categorically. Cursed existence. Tell me who's stronger. Mr. Osman, you often say the same thing about yourself, I've noticed. That you have a cursed existence. I'm sure I've mentioned this before to you, but I've been here in Great Britain for a year now, and in the time I learned that it was me. I can't be very tired to live in a foreign land and adapt to the ways of another culture. There are foreigners everywhere I look. They all stare at me. They all laugh. That's the impression I get whenever I go out. It makes me scared to leave my room. Which is why I've become a recluse. Even in my room, I find my fears. I moved for more times than I can remember, and then 1 week ago I moved to Briar Road. But why? I mean, why did you choose that place? It doesn't seem very comfortable. Because the rent is cheap, so the little buddy spoke to me. Makes sense. The rent? Obviously there's a reason why it's cheap, because the room was cursed. Cursed? Cursed? How? The previous occupant, the man who lived there before I took the room, died there. Oh no! He was only a young man, but one morning he was found dead and no one could explain why. Surely no one would want to live in a room with a history like that. And today, when the agent recommended you a place, I wavered. But I want the books! I want books cost money, a horrible history, a small price to pay! When I realized I would be able to buy more books, I signed the lease like lightning. Brave or blinkered? But after I moved in, so I came to realize what I've done. I realized how horrible that room really was. Gosh, was it really so awful? What happened in that room? Horrible history. Tell us, boy. My eyes. How did the room horrible history affect you, Mr. Hanson? What happened? At first, it was just a feeling. The feeling of beady eyes boring in my back, watching me. Do you think that might have been your mind playing tricks on you? No. My mind doesn't play any tricks. It was someone else. It's been a long nightmare ever since I given the keys to the place. A nightmare? You've been having bad dreams, you mean? All the souls who died in that room and leaned over me in sleep. I tried to strangle me. That really is horrible. And now that I come think of it, it happened again last night too. The very same night Mr. Shamspear was rivering and getting to poison his body. I was very to be suffocated silently by those miserable spirits in my room. You simply must move out of the room as soon as possible. Yes, you're right. I know it. That's why. I'm already searching for the next room of history to call home. I think perhaps you should have tried to avoid a combination of any history at all. Otherwise, I'm scared to yourself maybe become history. Woo! Sister knows how to make the man listen. Oh, damn. Alright, thanks for that. Of course, Mr. Lord of the Manor is worried that the curse in the room as well. You mean Mr. Garrett? Yes, he knows that the people keep dying there. He'll never be able to rent it out again. Well, that's true. I, for one, wouldn't go near that place. Ah, perhaps. That may explain why the landlord pays so much attention to the gas times his tenants' movements. You mean because he's worried of well-being? He does seem to be unusually keen interest in the amount of gas in the pipes. There must be a reason why he keeps such close tabs on occupancy lit rooms. What do you mean he pays so much attention to the gas lamps? Oh dear, no. It's nothing to do with Mr. Natsmith. Please forget I said anything. Oh, you're talking about me behind my back as well. What importance is Mr. Shamspear isn't in fact dead at all. Once he comes around, he'll be able to tell us what happened, he'll be able to get you released. Yes, please, I hope you're right. Excuse me. Oh, hi. What are you doing? Inspector Gregson! I couldn't help overhearing what you said, and on note, I have some good news and some bad news. Oh, no. Oh, what do you want to hear first? Always, every time, the bad news comes first. When hopes they have, hold on to it. It's my guiding principle. Right, well, in that case, the good news it is. Huh? Sorry, but it's just a lot easier to explain everything that way. Then why did you ask me my preference? As you might have heard, the victim, Mr. Shamspear, was unconscious. He's come around now. Yes, we saw it happen. It was all terrifying glory. He's still been treated by the doctor, so we managed to get the written statement from him already. Oh, isn't that wonderful, Mr. Natsume? Oh, thank goodness. It's all over then. I'm gonna leave the super cell. Sorry, no. That's not in the cards. Fuck. What? Why ever not, Inspector? Mr. Shamspear has implicit someone as being responsible for what happened last night. Implicit someone? Oh, dear. You don't mean... I'm sorry to say I do, yes. He's pointing the finger at you, Mr. Natsume. By sweet poison did he seek to end my life. That wicked Kefe Soseki Natsume. No! So I'm afraid you'll be appearing in court's planned. He'll be waiting to make the necessary preparations. Ah, fuck. Well... No! Well, yeah, we're gonna have to go to trial again. And so, once again, Soseki-san found himself having to take dock in the Old Bailey. Poor guy! Whether his room was haunted or whether he was just terribly unlucky, I knew I had no choice. The following day, I would represent him in court and utmost furious from blinded him. Alright, so I'm gonna end it right around here. So I hope you guys this video. Please like, comment, whatever. And so we're gonna go ahead and start the case. We're gonna go ahead and start the trial. So we're gonna start the trial of this case. So yeah. We're gonna start the first part of the trial, and I'll see you guys then. Bye.